What gear do you need to start vlogging for YouTube? My name is Dean. Welcome to Travelvids.tv, the place where you get to learn how to make videos the fast and easy way. And in today's video, I have hauled out all our gear, everything that we need and that we've used over the last few years to make vlogging videos on YouTube. Now, we didn't have all of this stuff from day one, and it also doesn't mean that you have to have all of this stuff, but this will give you a good insight into what we have, and we'll go through all the different pieces and tell you a little bit about the pros and cons of each one, which things work well together for what, and of course, which videos we did using what. So that's all included in this video. Without further ado, let's get into what gear you need to start vlogging for YouTube. You're never going to start vlogging if you don't have a camera. So first up on this list, we are going to look at the cameras in this setup that we have here. Now, there's a variety of different cameras in there, and we are going to go through them not in order of preference right now, but from the most basic to the most complicated. So the most basic camera that we have in the setup is the smartphone. In my case, I use a older phone for this type of thing. It's a iPhone SE. It is perfect for the job. I love using the phone. Why? Because it's quick to get to. You always capture those moments that you least expect with the phone because there's no setup required. It's just that one swipe and you're ready to film. So when you're on some vlogging adventure, usually what I find is that the other cameras are for setting up shots, but when something happens that's like behind the scenes or something quirky or funny, your phone camera is going to be that one. It's that behind the scenes, living in the moment camera. It is very important for a full vlogging kit like this because it is that secondary fly on the wall camera. If it's the only thing you got, that's perfect too, because it can do everything else as well. The smartphone is not only a camera, but it's also an editing suite that you can get going all in one go. So the pros are it's versatile, it's also inconspicuous. When you're filming something in a public space, people don't duck and dive out the way because it's just a phone. Everybody's got their phone up. Whereas when you bring out a DSLR camera with a mic on top, people kind of go, ooh, I don't want to be in that. So quick to use, inconspicuous, and editing suite all in one. The downsides to it are the camera quality. It's just not, yes, phones are getting a lot better and they're going to continue to get better. So maybe this will change even more in the near future. But right now, you can see the difference between phone footage and camera footage at the end of the day. You can still see it. Especially with vlogging, there's a lot of talking to camera. And if you're going to use the front-facing camera, you're going to especially notice it then. Mainly because the front-facing cameras, the ones that face your face, yes, the front-facing, the quality of those is never as good as the outward-facing camera. So if you can, use the outward-facing camera even to film yourself, but you've got to get kind of good at framing up for that when you're doing your talking shots. So phone is an essential part, an essential camera in this kit. Second camera in the kit is this funny looking contraption. This is the DJI Osmo, the original one. It's basically just a 3-axis gimbal. It's got 3 axes, this way, and that way. And it's a stabilization tool to keep the camera steady. Oh, it's calibrating. So once that's in, you can see I can lock on a point, and no matter what I do, that thing stays steady. So if I'm running down the road, this thing will just stay as it is. It's great for getting like top shots. So you can hang it upside down to walk behind people, get their feet walking. It's great for running after people. It's great for anything that requires a lot of movement, big movement. The primary purpose of a gimbal like this is to get smooth shots. It lends itself to action shots, movement shots, anything to do with big swooping movements. So let's quickly look at the pros and cons. The pros of it is that it's really beautiful footage. It's an easy to use gimbal. It's got 4K filming ability. It's got 60 frames a second. It's also got 120 frames a second if you really want to get those slow-mos in. That's come in real handy with us. Yeah, it's a cheap gimbal. I think that about summarizes it. It's the most accessible gimbal you're going to get for that kind of quality of footage. And we've used this camera for entire videos of just this in the earlier days. And some of our best videos, in fact, the Long Street video, which shot up to over 100,000 views fairly quickly, that was made with only the Osmo. So if you want a single camera, that works, it does work, but there are some downsides. So the downsides to the DJI Osmo. One, it's tricky to get going. It's not quick. So it takes a few moments to set up. The whole system works on Wi-Fi. So you use your smartphone as a screen to see what the camera is seeing. But you have to connect the Osmo via Wi-Fi to your phone and kind of wait a second for that to boot up, then open the app, then get into the app, and just make sure that everything's calibrated again. Sometimes you have to do that quickly. And if you are rushing to get a shot, or if you're arriving in a situation and something's happening and you want to get it, you can forget it. By the time you are set up and click, 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 click into the Osmo mode, it's done. So if you're under time pressure, if you're rushing all the time for whatever reason, or depending on the nature of your shoot, the Osmo is not a friend here. You need to know exactly what you're going to be using it for ahead of time. So in the case of the Long Street video, I knew exactly that I was going to that shop. I would stop, I would look at the shop, I would prep the camera, and I would go, okay, you're going to walk in like this, swoop around that corner and come in down. Okay, let's go. And you do the shot, and then sometimes you mess it up because you knock something or you wobble your arm, and you have to go and do it again. So the Osmo is very much for prepared shots. You do not have the time to rush into it and set up. The second downside, and this is a major one, is the sound. The sound quality on the Osmo itself is terrible, it's shocking, it's not usable. They did come out with a little microphone that you can plug into the front of it. It does have a microphone mini jack port in the front here. Here's another downside. The quality of this port is not good. So Darren and I are quite rough with our gear, I will admit that, but it didn't take a hell of a lot for this thing to start breaking inside so that the sound port didn't work at all. So we had to actually go send it in to get repaired, lost the warranty on the thing, but just to reinforce the sound jack. Since then, we can plug Rode mics, professional camera mics into this, or use external recording. Basically all gets very complicated, that you won't get your onboard sound perfect through the Osmo. So that's a huge downside. So if you are a complete beginner, I would stay away from this, because this really is for kind of when you're getting into it and you know exactly what you're doing. Great camera to have in your kit for those moving shots, but it's not for me an all-in-one winning camera. Yeah. Next up on the list, we've got these two. These are GoPro Heroes. It's basically a version that came out between the 3 and the 4. They are a whole lot older than what's available right now. The Hero 9 is like just on a whole nother planet compared to these old things. But a GoPro for me is still a GoPro. It's an action camera, and it's designed for attaching to things. It's designed for high action and moving shots, not necessarily in the same way as the Osmo. The Osmo is moving in the sense that you're coming into a space. It's that beautiful smooth movement, whereas this is action movement. So on a surfboard, on a mountain bike, and it's, yeah, you can go at full tilt and shaky, and this will kind of stay in line with that shot that you want to get. Pros and cons of the GoPro. On the plus side, it's really easy to use. It's got the quick function feature where you just, even when it's off, you hit record and it just starts going, and when you stop, it switches itself off again. So that way it saves a lot of battery. You can use this thing for hours on end. The other good thing is that that wide angle lens always gets the shot in. You never kind of miss. It's got that shotgun approach. It just scatter and get the shot. It's durable, waterproof. I think that's the biggest upside for us. And it comes with a lot of attachments. So those are the plus sides. You can attach this thing to anything. And that is our primary use for this. We do not vlog with our GoPros, although some people do. I'll get back to that in a moment. What we use it for is attaching it to the bicycle, to the surfboard, to cars, all that kind of thing. Because we know even if it falls off, it's not going to necessarily break. You can see we've smashed this one to pieces and it still works, even though the casing's cracked and we've broken off pieces. The camera still works, so they are really durable. What's on here is a float. It's good to have if you are working in the ocean or in water with these things, because they do tend to go lost. We have lost, I think, 3 GoPros already. Not something you want to have happen to you, but that's also the reason we haven't upgraded to the newer versions, because we are prone to losing them, and I wouldn't want to lose a GoPro Hero 8 or 9 in the ocean. It's just a little bit too expensive to be losing it, and also it's yeah, it sucks. Talking about the newer GoPros like Hero 9s, these are cameras that people are using to vlog with. It's becoming more and more prevalent to use only a GoPro. Now, I haven't had personal experience in this because we went a different route. We use the GoPros, as I've mentioned, just for our single purposes, single types of shots. But if you look at some of these vlogs, these people are using it because of the incredible stabilization, the variety of different lenses that you have now. It's not fixed on just the wide angle lens. And also the sound that's in there is a whole lot better. So other people are saying it's a perfect starting all-in-one vlog camera. I take their word for it. For us, it's just been an extra tool in our arsenal to get those creative shots to add into the mix to make that final product look a little bit more varied and awesome. Then let's go on to the next and the last camera in our gear, the one I'm filming with right now. This is the Canon M3, and we have a few lenses to go with it. So the Canon M3 is it's a lower end price range of a DSLR. It's a mirrorless, so it's a nice small little light body, and it's really easy to use. It's basically on, flip the screen and you're ready to go. However, we did want to add in some lenses so that we can get some different varieties. The original lens that came with the camera, which is the 18-55, a standard lens, we don't even use that anymore. It's not even in our kit. It's somewhere in the box still. We hardly ever use this thing. What we use is the lens that's on here now, which is a 10-18. It's a wide angle lens. The reason we do this is because the camera's in sort of at arm's length away from me, and look at the space and that I'm getting in. All the background, if I was somewhere in a location, you would be able to see. And I'm like that far away from the camera right now. It's it's super close, which makes it really easy to use for vlogging. And I can always just look up and see, okay, screen, set, go, back at the camera, and we're good to go. Besides the wide angle lens, we also have these two. One is a 50mm lens. This is perfect for doing portrait interviews where you want the background to be nice and blurry. It's also great for nighttime stuff. This is our nighttime lens because it's got a 1.4 aperture. Basically, this is like night vision for a camera. You can turn that thing all the way down and let all the light in, and it just looks beautiful. So nighttime stuff, and you can kind of cheat this as a macro lens. It gives you that extreme depth of field when you're doing close-ups of things. So this is my close-up and night lens. And then we also have a long lens, which is a 75 to 300. This is it's a cheapish lens. We don't need it very often, but it's nice to have when you need something that's far off in the distance, especially with animal safari stuff like that. You're not always going to get close, and sometimes you just want to capture that thing off in the distance. So it's just a nice thing to have in the backpack, but it's not essential. Because the flip screen is at the top of this camera, we had to make another plan for the microphone, and that was we needed a little velo mount, which is this bar over here, which you attach to the bottom, and you put the mic on that, and it's out of the way. It's to the side of the lens so that you can still do your checks on the small screen. So this was just a little workaround. What happens if the camera lens is a tilt up? But other cameras that we've worked with, like this one, we also work sometimes with the Canon 60D. Not often, because it's a little bit bulkier, and also it takes a little bit more knowledge to know how to use. The Canon M3 is very much like a snap and go style compared to this full DSLR. But this one flips out to the side, so you can still have the mic on top and see yourself on the side here, which is obviously very important for vlogging. You need to be able to talk to camera and frame up all the time. But when you're talking to camera, stop looking at yourself, keep focused on your audience. It's a very important skill that you have to learn over time. All right. I said that those were all the cameras, but I lied. There is one more that we have in our kit, and that is a drone. We have two different drones that we use. Darren has a Mavic and I have the Spark. He's got the big one, I've got the small one. It's good that we have both because we use them for different things. The Mavic is great for massive landscape scenic shots. He can go a lot higher, further, faster. So for serious action, chasing speedboats, chasing cars, that kind of thing, the Mavic's definitely your first option. But of course, it's a whole lot more expensive than something like the Spark. The Spark was my drone of choice because of its size, first and foremost. It packs away into like pocket size, and it can still go up to, I can fly up to 55 kilometers an hour, which is, you know, fast enough to track a car. I've done plenty shots. I can still go 150 meters in the sky, if not more. I can still go up to 300 meters away with the standard remote. So all in all, this thing is still more than powerful enough for what it is. It's great for people shots especially, and that's why I've only brought this one into this video, because if you're vlogging, it's all about the people and the experience that the people are having. This drone is more about staying in proximity with people than it is about getting high and far and fast. So if you're walking down a path, this thing can sort of auto lock on you and fly around you without you even having to do anything. It just automatically does that. I've used this feature time and time again. I used this drone to make a movie even. So do not underestimate the power of the Spark. It might be small, but it's a super, super awesome drone, and it's actually quite affordable for what it is. Yeah. If you want to get a drone and you don't want to blow a fortune, that's the place to start. So that was the bulk of this video about the cameras that we've used over the last few years. As I've said in the beginning, we've used them in isolation, so just this camera for one video, and then we've also made videos that were with a variety of them. What's important to know is that my favorite videos, the ones that I enjoyed making the most, and used all the cameras. So I would get the GoPro attached to something, I would have the Osmo in one hand, I would have the DSLR strapped over me, and depending on what was happening, I would just flip between the different cameras. for different shots. And then the final product was this montage of all these different angles and things. Those were my favorite videos, but those are not necessarily the most successful videos on our channel. On our channel, all the videos with the highest views are the ones where it is mainly just a single camera and a lot of talking to somebody, because that is the idea of a vlog. A vlog is a conveyance, a transfer of information from one person to their audience. So that means you're going to want a camera that is good at recording dialogue, recording a talking head. And then what you do to get the B-roll to add to that footage, you can do with the same camera. So one camera is enough to get started. You do not have to wait until you have a GoPro and an Osmo and a DSLR and a drone to get going. One camera is enough. And if all you have right now is a smartphone, that is enough to get into it. It's enough to hone your video making skills and your storytelling skills, which is the main ingredient to make a good video, not the gear. But the gear does get fun and it does allow you to do some more creative things. So I'm not going to underestimate it either. With those cameras that we mentioned, there are a couple more accessories that I just want to throw in, which are very important to note. The first thing is the batteries. For all our cameras, we have spare batteries. For the Osmo, we've got like 4 of these. For the drone, I've got 2 more of these. The Osmo lasts about an hour, so you can get a full day shooting with 4 of these batteries. You're not going to film more than 4 hours, and if you are, good luck editing. You should not be filming that much. With the drone, each flight is about 15 minutes, so with 3 of them, you are covered because it only takes about 20 to 25 minutes to charge a battery. So if you put one in the drone, fly it until it's dead, and you put it on charge while you're using the other 3, you can just fly infinitely with 3 batteries, provided you have a charging station. But 3 of these, 4 of these, and then with the DSLR, we have another 2 batteries. And with the cell phone, you always have a battery bank and a charger with you. So charging is just something that you have to cater for, especially when you're vlogging in the outdoors. You don't know when your next charging opportunity is going to come up, so you need to be prepared for that. Super important. The next really important thing is sound. We have 2 of these, one for the Osmo or a second camera, or even the smartphone, and one for the other camera. This is a Rode video mic. It is one of the most affordable, high quality mini shotgun mics. It's directional, but it's also omnidirectional, so it picks up somebody facing forward very much, but it also got a bit of an environmental sound. Pretty good in wind, pretty good quality of sound in general. So I can definitely recommend this as a starting point, because sound is vital for a vlog. As I've explained, it's a lot about conveying information, about storytelling, talking to your audience, and I would really, I'll say this time and time again, I would rather have a bad picture with good sound where you can follow the story than a great, crisp, beautiful picture with crappy sound, because this is just something that you're going to switch off straight away. Walk away, you need to get sound. The other alternative that you can have to this is a lapel mic, just something like I've got on me now. Let's pull that up. A little mic like this, hello, which is running into my smartphone where I'm making a recording of the sound. Simple as that. You can buy these on like Amazon or whatever it is for a couple of dollars, and it's not going to break the bank, but it really gives you good sound. Super important. Another vital component for stabilization is a tripod. You don't want to always be holding the camera in your hand. Sometimes, like now, I want to be able to put it down and just talk with my hands being free. So I've got this on this Manfrotto tripod. It's a really light tripod, which is perfect for us because we're always on the go, we're always on the move. and this thing just sort of slings over. It even fits into my backpack. So it's small, it's light, and it's also affordable. As far as Manfrotto goes, it's one of the most affordable tripods you're going to get from them. And it's got a really easy, quick lock and release system on the camera, on the top part, on the head. So you can get all the angles that you need. So I can highly recommend that, but if that is slightly out of the budget range, there are a whole bunch of cheaper tripods. We have a series of them. I think we've got about 4, which we've collected over the years for different purposes. These things, they last forever if you wash them every now and again, because we've put them in the ocean, we've flung them over things, we've strapped them down to car roofs. There's all sorts of crazy things that we've done. But yeah, a cheap tripod is not a bad thing. There is one thing that's not in the kit here that we use a lot, but I don't have one. This is Darren's. It's with him at the moment. That is a GorillaPod. It's a super versatile tripod. You can attach it to things. It's great for handheld vlogging. It works as a selfie stick, so it gives you that bit of distance to get a nice wider angle of yourself. And it also helps with the stabilization there. The only downside to that is that it's short, so if you ever want to come up to something, you have to find a place where you can attach it to or put it on. That's never really been a massive problem, but if you are going to be doing a lot of talking to camera in locations, you might want to just get a normal sized tripod. If you're using a smartphone, don't forget you're going to need some kind of attachments for your tripod. This is just a small little Joby clamp, very simple, fits all phone sizes, in you go on the tripod and you're done. So if you're using a phone, it's a good one to have. The very last thing that was on the table that I have not mentioned was this little contraption. This has been a lifesaver time and time again. It's a little hardcover case where we keep our SD cards, CF cards, whatever we need in here. Waterproof, shockproof, smashproof, drop-proof. Yeah, when you're filming a lot in a day, big files, and you fill up cards, you don't want to be sticking them in your pocket or losing them in your backpack. It's nice to have a home for your cards. And yeah, we also have a little bit of a system going that when a card is full, you turn it face down, and when it's empty, it's face up. So when you're needing a card very quickly, you can open and you see a face up card, you can grab it without, and it should be pre-formatted as well. If it's not, you know that you can format it because it's face up. So that's a quick and reliable way to get your cards. And that's it. That's what we've used to make over 350 videos on YouTube so far. If you have any questions about gear, let us know in the comments below. My closing advice is basically start with what you have, get into it, have fun with it, tell good stories, get good shots, and then start upgrading the gear. You're going to hear it time and time again from me, but I really, really can implore you to do this because that will make your videos better. Good gear is only the icing on the cake. It is not the body of it all. All right, that's it from me, Dean. You're watching Travelvids.tv, the channel where we teach you how to make videos the fast and easy way. And I'll see you in the next tutorial.
Eyes were soft, touched the